Hello everyone and welcome to the Nashville Fairgrounds for the running of the Budweiser 500 here at Nashville. It's going to be a longer race than last season and a pretty long race in general. 140 laps around this Nashville Fairgrounds circuit. It's sure to put on an amazing show. Hopefully we'll see something just as dramatic as the truck race that happened last night. We have 40 drivers in the field, 44 entered, 43 ended up being here with the 10 withdrawing before this event for having no driver. But we're here for these 140 laps. It's sure to be exciting. It's going to be same fuel window as yesterday, and we saw it could be even a 60 to 65 lap fuel window in these Cup cars for this race, but still that means you're going to have at least 2 pit stops. We're looking at the front row, and Max Anderson scores his first Cup Series pole in that number 12. Rockstar Energy Racing trying to come out here with a bang here in the 12. Get himself on pole. Alongside him is the Holo Live number 94 of Dusty Neal in that second position. Alex Fletcher continues KGM's great streak on the short tracks this season, at least in terms of qualifying, starting third, the highest start for the 07 car in the last 2 years of Cup Series competition. And the Aaron's Dream Machine number 55 rolls off alongside him. Tim Foster and Brady Burkhardt take up row 3. Austin Murray gets sponsorship from FanDuel. They'll be on the car for, I believe, the next 6 or 7 races. Alongside him is Stephen Wallace Jr., who came up just short on fuel and time to win yesterday's event. And Irving Allison, Matty Porta make up a 4 in top 5th row, as you got the Spanish and the Italian driver making up that 5th row. Ryan Butcher pulling out an amazing qualifying run, trying to get his season back on track in that 88. He won yesterday's event in the Crown Royal Truck Series. Can he do it again today? Can he sweep the weekend here for the CRTS? William Duncan, another driver, having a great qualifying performance, 14th for that Ditech 33. We'll have to see if he has the race pace to hang up there. He's had some good qualifying pace this season, but we'll have to see how that race pace goes. Logan Cloud in the 77 returning once again. There's Jay Jefferson in the Mrs. Baird's Bread Bakery number 48. Vince Freeze gets new sponsorship from Snowflake, a pretty fitting company to drive for the Iceman there in that number 34. He rolls off pretty far back in the grid today, but we'll see how he can do if he can make it from mid-pack towards the front, try to turn his rookie campaign around. Joseph Sergley starting near the back. Eli Bright with a top 10 yesterday, looking for his first top 10 of the season here, and Eli Bright, for the first time last week, he finally got a top 30 finish. Cordell Smith in the 52 this week. Carson Bauer starting pretty far back. Jeff Alloway has been announced to be driving this 91 the rest of the season, but now does the I-69 luck run out as he started 14th and finished 17th last week. He starts 31st today for Pedal to Metal. Rebellion Timepieces brings out a new and quirky scheme for Roger Ray with 2 different sides of the car. That is allowed in the Cup Series. And Truck Series, NSDCA, you're allowed to run 2 radically different sides of the car. Of course, the design has to be at least a little bit of the same, and you see that with the camo on both sides. Benyako, Hagen, Eves, Yepes all starting near the back. Jacob Edson qualified this car 38th. He failed post-qualifying inspection, though. Drops 2 spots to the rear. We'll see how that is, especially after a scandal between Monster Motorsports and Shade Burkhardt Racing. They're being held accountable this weekend in a major penalty to those teams. We'll see what will happen there with those guys. But we're ready to go down trackside for the commands. The Budweiser 500 and 140 laps at Nashville coming up as this command goes off.
Drivers, start your engines!
Pepsi and the NSDCA have teamed up this season to bring you the Pepsi Pole Award for the fastest qualifier in all 26 Sundrop Cup Series races this season. This weekend, it's Max Anderson, the rookie in the 12, with his first pole of his career. He finished 3rd here last season in the JSR 63, now in a much better car and starting with the track position. We'll see what he can do for Rockstar Energy Racing after 140 laps here at Nashville. With that, the engines are fired, the Budweiser 500 ready to roll off. 40 drivers, 140 laps. Fuel window could be upwards of 60 to 65 laps, depending on how these guys run. We might see what we saw in the truck race yesterday. Some early cautions up front into a green flag run. We'll see how these Cup guys fare, and maybe we'll be able to get even longer of a green flag run and another natural pit strategy race coming to you here for the Sundrop Cup Series. Max Anderson sits up in the 12. Remember, This season, no other manufacturer than Toyota has won on an oval, with Irving Allison, Sebastian Cucalon, Brandon Morris combining to 6 wins this year for BGM and SBR. You got Foster and Porta, the 2 road course winners. We got 140 laps ahead of us. Can someone break the Toyota curse? Green flags in the air. Anderson and Neal lead us down. Coming through into turn 3 already, Max Anderson pulling out to the lead. Neal second. Morris is going to take that 3rd spot away from Alex Fletcher. Foster in 5th. Austin Murray 6th. One thing about Alex Fletcher, as we point out already in this race, that car, it's underfunded compared to some of the team, but yesterday in the truck race, he drove way through the field in that Onjato 46 and went to possibly win the race had the fuel lasted. He's still 5th. He's dropping back early, but that 07 driver, he knows how to get it done at Nashville. He might be able to charge his way back through the field, but up front, it's all Max Anderson out in front in that number 12. Neal 2nd, Morris 3rd. Foster up to 4th. Now Austin Murray working on Fletcher for that position. Looking back, 2 by 2 so far. We'll see how clean these guys make it through here. Nashville's been a pretty fun track, and there they go 3 wide. We saw that didn't work yesterday in the truck race, and it was a, well, that's North Border Motorsports there, but it was a Monster Motorsports affiliated team there as well. Vince Freeze, he knows not to go 3 wide. He was the one that got spun out and pretty much ruined his day there. Now Roger Ray, Yepes, they're trying to charge through the field with Jesse Turner. Looks like we're staying at least clean for these opening laps, 5 laps in to this event. As we said, if it is a 60-lap fuel window, we'll give it to what we saw yesterday in the truck race. 60 laps means if this race somehow goes green the entire way, which it doesn't because it's an NSDCA short track, we'll see 2 pit stops. We could see more. We could see less. Well, we probably won't see less, but we could definitely see more. We could definitely see upwards of 3 or 4, depending on how these cautions fly. Larry Hagan a bit low there, and these guys staying pretty calm, at least for now. 2 by 2 is what you need to see, as we got a battle for second. Here comes the 55 of Morris taking that spot, and it is shocking how strong BGM has been this season. They have now 4 wins under their team in the Cup Series, with Morris scoring 3 of them, and Irving Allison getting his first career Cup Series win last week at I-69. So we'll see what BGM can do, especially if they can keep this pace going towards the chase. Morris takes second. You see Irving Allison now working on Austin Murray for that 5th position. Irving happy to be in victory lane. He's won the last 3 years of NSDCA competition after starting his career in the Mountain Dew Custom Series for Shade Burkhardt Racing in the Hardee's 83. It was a disappointing season filled with DNQs. He had some good flashes at the end of the season, so they moved him up to the Truck Series. Everyone thought, you know, that'd be a weird decision to make. And he went out and he won a race. And I believe he made the chase that season. I know he didn't last year. He did get 2 wins last year, though. And right now he has 1 win in the Cup Series season, fighting for a wild card spot. Looking up front, though, Morris starting to catch up to Max Anderson. This is where Max Anderson actually scored a top 5 finish for Joseph Srigley Racing's number 36 last year. So he knows how to drive Nashville. We'll see what he can do, but the 55 of Morris already wants that spot away, trying to win for the Aaron's Dream Machine. He's won for Gatorade this year and for Valvoline, trying to get his 3rd sponsor of the season, Aaron's, into victory lane now. Try to get him a clean sweep. He only has, though, 1 other sponsorship, that being Viagra in the number 55. But that's only for 3 races, so he's going to have to try pretty hard to get himself into victory lane with that scheme later this season. Neal and Foster now, that is the driver with his owners battling for that 3rd spot. 12 of 140 complete here. As you see, Onjack is charging through. He's up to 6. Stephen Wallace Jr. looking for a good day in the Cup Series. He hasn't had many of those this season. As we go back for the lead, the 12 and 55 going at it. Morris trying to take that spot away. Anderson fighting back on the outside. And it will be Max Anderson getting that lap led, so that's 12 laps led for the 12, but I don't think he's going to lead another one, as the 55 is going to get by and clear him there for that race lead. But as we were saying, Stephen Wallace Jr., he had a chance at winning yesterday's race in the Truck Series, was chasing down, was leading laps, and the fuel came out at the end. And, you know, that's what we're going to say. Butcher earned that race win. He played the strategy in that. But SWJ and Fletcher were race-winning cars, so you got to know that those 2 have speed here, have possibilities today that they could run well. Fletcher's already dropped to 10th, though, in the 07. Stephen Wallace Jr. trying to get his best run of the season here in the Cup Series. It's been a long season so far for that GDI team. Butcher up to 9th, Alex Fletcher 10th, Logan Cloud up to 11th. And that's 71, 77. I thought he started further back than he did. He only started 15th. There's Gatlin Downey, Sebastian Cucalon, Brady Burkhart back there, freezing. There's Jeff Alloway, actually. Alloway's up to 19th after starting 31st. It helps that you start on the inside line, but that 91 car is starting to move through the field. Matthew Eves and Jay Jefferson back there. There's Mathis Wells, and a couple cars ahead of him is Jay Jefferson. We'll see how these two will fare here at the short track. We talked to both of them pre-race, or at least the NSDCA talked to both of them pre-race, just making sure that they did not have any issues that would come up here at a short track. Bowers, Yepes further back. Edson trying to pick up as little as he can. Strigley really struggling, 38th. Vince Freeze, 39th. And Cordell Smith sits 40th as we are already looking. There is the 55 right there heading through turn 1. 52's going to enter turn 3 with Freeze. They're coming off of turn number 2, so we'll be seeing lap traffic very soon here. It's a short track, so that's always what you see is a bunch of lappers at a short track race. I see Peter Onjak picking up that spot, looking for 5th. Dusty Neal going after Max Anderson for that 2nd position. Neal wants to get himself into victory lane. He won at one short track last year, his only career win in the NSDCA, but he made the chase. He's been a championship contender for the last few years. He's been a pretty good driver, at least in the Cup Series. Trucks were struggling. CFRO still a bit of a mid-pack team in trucks, but really, at least this 94 car for CFRO is a top-tier team in Cup and can get those race wins. So he's up to 2nd, trying to break that Toyota streak of ovals. But I swear, Morris won this race last season, and I'm pretty sure that was his first career win. So he's looking to go 2 in a row in this 55, and if he wins here, I don't know who could stop him with 4 wins possibly already in the first 9 races of the season. Much unlike the Crown Royal Truck Series, 6 different winners in the first 6 races has made the Truck Series a pretty parity-heavy series and has made for some great racing this year. I don't think we've seen this good of truck racing in many years of the NSDCA. Last season especially was pretty hectic. Peter Onjak now catching up to Tib Foster. Austin Murray trying to break into the top 5. Stephen Walls Jr. all over the back of Irving Allison. These two fighting for that 6th position there with Austin Murray just ahead. Butcher 9th. DeLello's up to 11th. So Monster Motorsports running pretty well. The penalties were to the 60 and 3, Anderson Reed's team and Colton Lane's team, as well as William Duncan has some right side damage. He was not in that, but he does have some damage to that car, already back to 28th. And the other driver involved in that was Austin Murray in the 24 car. He sits now 8th, so it doesn't look like that penalty too big to him. He has a little bit of right side damage there to that now too, so might be some physical racing here at the short track. But you see Morris out in front over Neal. They're starting to catch up to lap traffic. 24, 140 complete here at the Budweiser 500. We're going to go ahead, take a quick commercial break, bring you guys back to the action at Nashville right after this. And no, we won't, as Alex Fletcher gets turned around in the 07, and that will be the caution out here for the first time in this race. Fletcher goes around, and it looks like this day has gone from bad to worse for Alex Fletcher. Already was dropping like a rock, and now he's going to have to fight up, as now Morris is going to go right into the back of Vince Freeze. Now everyone's going to have to try to work their way past all these lappers, as the lappers really kind of hold everyone up. And now Morris and Freeze are going to have a bit of a tango there. But now this is a rough track. It's a short track, so you really got to watch when you're coming back to pace around. Thankfully, though, most of the field, and you see all these guys coming in already, so they might just be trapping themselves a lap down here, as everyone else is going to come back around. Though we do have the wave around, so if they do end up coming out in front of your race leader, whoever it is coming off of pit road, they will be able to get their lap back unless someone stays out. I don't see anyone staying out. The fuel window right here means you can make it on one more stop in this race, and that's what we're going to see as they all come down onto pit road. This is a very tight pit road, very tricky to manage. You're going to have to get out properly. There are some of the lappers, so Benyako, Turner, Edson, Ray, Yepes, Mathis Wells, Strigley are going to get out on the lead lap. The 52-34 are going to be trapped a lap down. Morris and Foster lead them out. Neal is coming out. There comes Max Anderson. Fletcher's going to repair a little bit in that 07. Burkhart with a long pit stop back there as well. But now everyone's coming back around, and you still got to get out quickly because, again, it's a short track. You don't have a lot of time to make your pit stops. Duncan repairing that car, so we'll see if William Duncan can get back out and stay on the lead lap. going to be real close between them, and he just barely will. So we'll restack this field, see what happened to Alex Fletcher, bring us back to the action here at Nashville right after this. First incident of the day, Alex Fletcher going into turn 1 is going to have a flat tire. Slows him down, and he hits Zachary DeLello, chips him, spins him around. Simple spin, no one hits him. First caution of the day.
At Cracker Barrel Old Country Store, choice shouldn't stop with where you go for dinner. You should get to pick exactly what you want, too. Choose from 10 or more home-style main dishes, 2 of our country-style sides, and homemade biscuits or corn muffins. Every one of our country dinner plates is handmade. It's our way of making our home feel a little closer to yours. So stop on by. You're always welcome.
Coming back live here at the Budweiser 500. Brandon Morris leads with Tim Foster 2nd, Peter Onjak 3rd, Dusty Neal 4th, Irving Allison 5th, Max Anderson 6th, Austin Murray 7th, Stephen Wallace Jr. 8th, Ryan Butcher 9th, Zachary DeLello in 10th. Under caution, a couple things. A couple guys got trapped a lap down, coming down to pit road. Cody Goforth, a coolant leak on the 17 when he left his box. They brought it back in, patched that up. And Jay Jefferson not having a good season at all for that 48 team. Engine failure on the 48. He is out of this one, a reported header issue. There's your lap traffic right there. Mathis Wells, Alex Fletcher, Cordell Smith, Austin Johnson, Vince Freeze. All were trapped a lap down. Mathis Wells came down 3 times under that caution to fix something amiss on that Cyclone number 62. Everyone except those guys are 1 lap down. Jay Jefferson out of this one, 34 on the lead lap, as some of those guys did get out in front of Morris. Got the wave around here. We're getting ready to go back racing. 33 of 140. Still a long way to go in this event. Not even close to halfway yet. Just over a quarter of the way. Morris, Foster, Onjak, Neal, and Irving Allison, your top 5. Green flags in the air, and we're racing once again at Nashville. Going to the wide-angle shot, making sure everyone makes it clean through this course, at least for this opening stint, or opening lap, and it looks like they will as Morris pulls away in that 55. You get a good restart. Short tracks are interesting with how they do their restarts, because you can definitely get those moves done pretty early on, and you can pull away on these starts, because you saw how far Morris pulled away as Onjak's going to get that move done now on Tim Foster side by side for that 2nd position. He's going to take it away, and this could be the biggest threat to that 55. You see Austin Johnson, Alex Fletcher on pit road. Those might be restart violations with how rough these short tracks are at restarting. You cannot advance your position before the line, and I believe those two are bit by that. With how tough short tracks are to restart, you usually see those kind of issues here. You got to pass on the outside. A lot of people go to the inside. But as we were saying, this could be the biggest threat to Morris's race win. Onjak is a fantastic short track racer. He has a fast car underneath him, and these two have fought all last year for a couple wins. You remember Chicagoland, one of the best battles we've seen in the Sundrop Cup Series in the year and a half that it has been running. And right now we could see another classic one as Onjak is closing in. Slowly closing in, but he's getting there on that 55 of Morris. Don't count out Dusty Neal, though, in 4th, a very fast short track racer in himself. Now you got BGM versus SBR, Irving Allison versus Austin Murray for 6th and 7th. Butcher up to 8th. Stephen Wallace Jr. hanging on in 10th. There's Cucalon up here. There's a bunch of those Chevys. And look at Jeff Alloway. I don't know what to say about this young kid, but he's only made, this is his 2nd ever start in the NSDCA. He grew up on short tracks, local tracks, and that's all he's had. Has never stepped foot into the Dr. Pepper Dash Series, Molson Modifieds, Mountain Dew Custom Series, Sundrop Cup Series. He came directly from local tracks, and right now this 91 car is bad fast this season and running away with how good this is. And there's the former driver of the 91, Logan Cloud, stepping over to the 77. I don't know if that's a good call. For the future, maybe, at Monster Motorsports, you definitely have much more of a future in the 77 if you wish. The 91 doesn't get too much help with P2M just being a single car operation. There's only so much you can do with that team. Plus, it has a very slow development process. But the 77's on a 6-car team. It's hard to keep everything equal and, powered up as much as you see him fighting Brady Burkhart right there for that 19th position. Further back, Anderson Reed dropping back a little bit, and there's the back half of that grid. Looks like the 07 and 51 came off of pit road, served their penalty. They're now a couple laps down, so that's blowing Alex Fletcher's day out of the water. After that incident, he came down pit road, fell down a lap in repairing. 07 is struggling today here at Nashville. Heartbreaking to see after a great start to the season. Morris continuing to pull away now from Onjak, has opened up just about a second over him. And then you got Foster back there. Irving Allison in that 16. He won Memphis before. That was his first career Crown Royal Truck Series victory. He's a strong racer in the 16, very strong racer. He's won South Boston last season in the Truck Series as well, so he's a short track ace. Last week at I-69, it was more of a strategy call that got him so far up and into victory lane, but a lot of teams were having problems on pit road last week. Don't know why, as you see Irving just took that spot away from Max Anderson for the 5th position. But Irving might have the pace to be a championship threat this year, as his boss, Ryan Butcher, just gave Austin Murray a bit of a nudge there, as now Butcher is putting up a season-defining run right now after how bad TSR's other 2 cars have been. Hagen and Jefferson have been up front. Jefferson's just had a ton of bad luck in that 48 car. Spurley Tube's been decently mid-pack, really just outside the top 10 to just inside the top 20 all season. But Ryan Butcher, Eli Bright have been struggling. Butcher DNQ'd at Willow Springs. He's right now at the track he won at yesterday. Maybe that's given him the boost of confidence to get this 88 up front, because they are moving through the field. Started this race 11th. He's already inside, looking for a top 5 run here shortly. And there's Spurley Tube, Lane, DeLello, Alloway, Downey. A lot of guys have some left side damage now, and you'll see that with how aggressive you got to be at short tracks to make moves happen. As you see, Alex Fletcher now going a lap down, a 3rd lap down, I think, to the rest of the field, and that is he's 3 laps down. The Toyota Morris pulling away from the Dodges of Foster, Onjak, and Neal as they go on by. Here comes Foster in the 40 now, looking after Peter Onjak there as he's going for that 2nd position. It looks like he might have gotten a piece of damage from that little stack up coming back to caution there, and that's rough. That's a thing you got to deal with at short tracks, but it isn't really killing his speed. Short tracks, you can live with a ton of damage and still be able to race as long as the internals are really in one piece. The aero isn't too much of a factor with how little you're basically on the gas. So that 40 car, I think he's going to be fine as this race progresses. We'll just see if they do indeed, hammer that hood down a little bit on subsequent pit stops. Stephen Wallace Jr., Ryan Butcher, keep going back to these guys in the second half of the top 10, just because this is kind of a different race we're seeing than usual. Of course, you got the Toyota Morris taken off out in front in that 55 car, and there's really nothing going on up there. He's just being chased by Anjado guys. But look at these guys that are in the top 10. Irving Allison, Austin Murray, Max Anderson, Ryan Butcher, Stephen Wallace Jr. hanging on up front after great qualifying runs. Riley Spurley Tube just outside the top 10. He's running 11th in that Rainbird 28. Colton Lane is was the points leader until last week. At I-69, a horrible pit call, a horrible day, really, for that 60 team. He's back here in the 11th position. And Jeff Alloway, again, just a fantastic run this year for Pedal to Metal Racing. Hate to say it for Cloud, it's really rejuvenating the P2M team, but it was already announced that this 91 car is going to CFRO anyway. So there's a chance Logan Cloud, Tib Foster, those owners are looking at this 91 driver, looking at the equipment and thinking, why not take it now? Why not keep him in there? So this is really a great run for Alloway. We've been at 2 short tracks. I-69 is not classified as a short track, but really raced like one. And this is a real short track. So this is really what he's been used to. The real question is, will he have the pace at the 1.5, 2 mile and super speedways? And the road courses, how strong will he be there? You can be good at a short track, but you don't have to be, you can be bad everywhere else, just like Matthew Eves is good at the big tracks and bad everywhere else. Morris now getting screwed by some lap traffic, and that's, again, what was really the big factor yesterday in the truck race, other than the fuel running out at the end, was lap traffic. It cost Stephen Wallace Jr. a chance to win that race. Alex Fletcher was fighting in there, so that's the thing about short tracks. You really got to work your way past all these lappers at the back, and they don't want to go a lap down. It's much more forgiving now that you have the wave around and free pass, but, that's not a guarantee. And Morris right now is out in front. He just pulled around Vince Freeze. Now Onjak's going to go right by Vince Freeze. And this could be big for the 46. This is how Alex Fletcher caught up to Stephen Walsh Jr. in the truck race yesterday as Cordell and Yepes make contact in front of him. Diego's not going to be happy about that, but this has been a horrible move by Yepes. The last 3 races he's driven, the 35, he has plummeted himself through the standings all the way back to 16th in the points standings now after being a championship contender in the 77. Morris, though, now all over the back of the RHR 52, and that is the team that made some big moves yesterday that cost some drivers. That cost Stephen Wallace Jr. a chance at the end of the race to get around Fletcher. Ultimately, it did not matter in the end because they all ran out of fuel at the end. But, you know, RHR really starting to put themselves as a potential roadblock at the back of the pack. And it's good to see new teams in here, but man, they have been at the back of this pack for a long time. And at these short tracks, they just got to make sure they get out of their way. And Cordell did get out of the way that time. That's a veteran driver. Cordell Smith, of course, a Red Bull Short Track Showdown champion in that 52 cars. Foster getting real close with Vince Freeze. Dusty Neal has fallen back in 4th. Irving Allison 5th. Murray 6th. Anderson, Stephen Wallace Jr., Cucalon, and Butcher. Your top 10 as Alloway now stands ahead of, I think, all of the Monster Motorsports drivers. So P2M is right now outpacing Monster, and I don't think Lane's taking too much of a liking to that all over the back of the 91. The Chevy's fighting for that 12th position as Spurleytube tries to check out a little bit. Colton Lane trying to get himself back into the championship hunt. Bowers is your points leader entering this. He started at the back, but he's up to 20th. Started this race from the 30th position. Gained 10 spots so far. He's pretty good at a short track with a couple cautions being thrown in there. There's Cody Goforth. He stayed on the lead lap fixing that coolant leak. He's 22nd now in that 17. And there is the big pack of lap traffic now as Mathis Wells is going to sit down and block up another Dodge driver. But, you know, there's just nowhere to go here at Nashville. So I don't think that's malicious. He's just trying to fight and show. But, yeah, that 62 team has been in the way of a lot more drivers than the RHR team has this year. And Cyclone, he won a race this year, the Molson Modifieds. Maybe that's given him confidence. But when you're driving just to run races, just to get some money flowing in that cup car, you don't want to crash it. As Morris now picks up 2 spots, 2 more lap cars between them with the 2 SBR drivers of Edson and Alex Beniaco now going a lap down. Onjak 2nd, Foster 3rd, Neal 4th. Battle for 5th, Irving, Allison, Austin Murray, Max Anderson, Stephen Wallace Jr., Cucalon, and Ryan Butcher hanging on over Riley Spurleytube. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, bring guys back to the action here at the Budweiser 500. Morris, Onjak, dominating the field right now, but Morris trying to win his 2nd race at Nashville and 4th of the season.
Daddy.
No, Macy, I can't let you drive the old Aaron's Dream machine. It's too dangerous.
Please?
Honey, your feet won't even reach the pedals.
Oh, Daddy, I love you.
Whoa, Focus. You're only 11. You don't have a license.
But I have my own suit.
Boy, you sound an awful lot like ODW.
Your dad let you drive.
Name brand furniture, electronics, appliances, and computers are all here at Aaron's. You don't need credit to buy or lease at Aaron's guaranteed low price. Nobody beats Aaron's.
We're still going for ice cream, right, honey?
Back live here at the Nashville Fairgrounds. Going to go through the field a little bit here. Brandon Morris up in the top spot. The Aaron's Dream Machine colors jumping on the car last week at I-69. Charged through the field at the end. And right now is showing some absolute dominance here at Nashville. The BGM team has hit on every mark this season as he works his way past William Duncan. Putting Duncan now the top 30. Or top 29, the only ones on the lead lap now. But Morris has been very strong in that 55 this year. 3 wins, looking for his 4th one, and looking to do it in absolute dominance. Only he and Max Anderson have led laps today. Anderson led the first 12. Morris has led the last 57 in that 55. Peter Onjak in 2nd, running the bit of the night scheme for the 44 Menards car this season, the black and yellow number 44. He's having a great time here in the goof-off Dodge, but he knows this lap traffic is going to cost him a ton, and he knows that 55 is way too fast to possibly beat on pace. So he's going to have some help from the lap traffic and possibly from his pit crew to try to get him into the race win. But still, you could see a caution come out at any point at a short track, and that could change everything in terms of the race. Tip Foster back in 3rd, a bit upset at the drivers for slowing down, coming to that caution and kind of stacking everyone up. But the 40 driver is happy with his race car. Said to his team, for the next pit stop, don't mess with the hood. Just go ahead and give me 4 fresh tires, give me some fuel, and I'll take it to the end. Foster's happy with how it's running, but not happy with these lappers getting in his way and costing him and his boss, Onjak, some time to the leader of Morris. Dusty Neal is very happy with the CFRO team and very happy with how they've been running this year. He's 11th in points, just 3 points coming into this race. He came in 3 points behind Matty Porta for the 10th position. He's far ahead of Porta right now and having a great time. The HoloLive 94, he's happy to have a fun sponsor on his car with that South Point colors that he usually runs in the McDonald's. So he's happy to put them up in the top 5, get some TV time for him, and have a great race for that CFRO team. Irving Allison was your race winner last week at I-69. Based off a strategy coming to the end, he moved his way through the field, picked his time, and got up to the front. He doesn't think he has the car to beat his teammate Morris this week in that 16, but he knows if he can get a caution, get a restart, or just play some strategy like last week, he could have a shot at the race win. He knows how hard it is to get passes done here. He knows how hard it is to win on short tracks. He loves racing at them. He's right now in that 5th position for BGM. Austin Murray in 6th was under a bit of a scandal this week with his ratings, making the upgrades from a couple weeks ago null and void on that 24. He's trying to hang on up here. As they went, the 82 and 24 teams have swapped equipment for the remainder of the season. That is why this 24 is still fairly competitive, but Austin Murray up in the 6th position is showing he's still a championship contender and could be up there with the likes of Cucalon, Allison, and Morris as a possible race winner this year for Toyota. Stephen Walls Jr. sitting in 7th, won at South Boston earlier this season in the Truck Series, almost won this race yesterday. Had the fuel lasted, and he had just one more shot at Alex Fletcher. The 65 team has been horrible this year in the Cup Series, 22nd in points, rivaling nearly where they were last season in a 22-car field. The 65 is happy where he is right now. He says just loosen the car up a little bit more and try to work. He told his spotter to try to work with some of these lappers to get him out of the way so he could try to pick up a few spots on the Toyotas ahead of him. Meanwhile, we were talking about SWJ. Cucalon got past him. The 2-time winner won the first 2 races of the year, and we thought he'd be the dominant Toyota. That was not the case. This 19 team right now running in the 7th position and slowly making his way through the field after starting this race 12th. He said the car is feeling great, but it's getting tight now at the end of this run. He can't wait for a couple new tires here in the coming fuel run. Max Anderson in the 12 is sitting in the 9th position. Started this race on pole, the only other race leader today. Led 12 laps in the number 12, has fallen back since. But he doesn't care if he wins this race. He wants a top 10. The 12 team is 27th in points, no top 10s, no top 5s, average finish of 24th. It hasn't been up front a lot this season, but he's enjoying it as it runs right now. And Ryan Butcher in the 10th spot, now fighting over the rookie Jeff Alloway. Butcher just wants to get a top 10 for the team. He's fighting hard for it as you got Yepes in front of him, Alloway behind him. This 88 team is looking fast now, it appears, after this ratings day, but he's trying to hang on. He knows that the cars behind him are faster. The Monster Motorsports, P2M, who just passed him, and a lot more drivers are back there trying to get those spots away from him, but he just wants a good finish to show for TSR, who hasn't really been showing up today here at Nashville. Foster now has gotten by Onjak, as Onjak has really had an issue. He has not been able to get past Duncan this entire time. Strictly pulled away. Now you see Morris lapping Alex Fletcher again. Not Kyle Court, but that's Felix Jansen in the 61 this week. He's 29th, last car in the lead lap right now. Roger Ray just ahead, and that's really cost him as Foster now moves his way into 2nd. And I'm just worried about what BGM is doing to that 55, because it is a rocket ship. I don't know where this speed has come from. I don't know why he is so good and why no one can touch him. There was really no difference from this to last season. Morris had the best average finish last year, and he said that a lot over the offseason. He said they were going to come out, try to get races, get wins, and win the championship this year. This 55 team, they had the best average finish last year, but Onjak and Jefferson were right near him. But this year, those two haven't really been the top class of the field. They're 4th and 6th in the standings, right around Morris, who's 5th in the standings. And that's another thing. Morris could win this race and still wouldn't be your points leader. He's 38 back with guys like Irving Allison right behind him. Never mind, Irving's 13th in the standings. I was trying to remember. Bowers and Cucalon, they're both fighting towards the top 10 or in the top 10. And that's where Morris is in general to the points leaders. He's 38 points behind Carson Bowers. So let's not say that the season has been fantastic for the 55. He has 3 wins, looking for his 4th today in just about 60 laps time, 50 laps time this time by. And just saying that means the fuel window is ready soon. But the 55 team, it's been boom or bust. They either win the race or they crash out. His average finish of 16th with 3 wins and 4 top 10s. As you see, the 55 is going to come down pit road. So he's coming down early, and it looks like the 40 and 44 are going to go for a bit of an overcut, and possibly the whole field. There's the 16 coming down, so we're going to pause it right here and look at that. But Morris, you know, it's boom or bust. He's either going to win the race or he's going to crash out. He only has one other finish in the top 10 that's not a race win. It's a top 5 finish. But here we go. They're coming on around. So Foster's in. Onjack and Neal are going to stay out a bit longer here. So there's a variety of pit strategy you can do. And it is, you're going to have to pit now. You're running out of fuel. You guys pit around lap 25. It's now 91. So that's what we said about a 65 lap fuel window, I guess. So you could save a bit. But these guys are going to have some good tires here to get to the end of the race. And you see Dusty Neal's going to stay out. He's going to pick up an extra lap. So that 94 playing some strategy to get some bonus points. I don't see why not. Cucalon, SWJ, Curtis, Lane, Spurley Tube, DeLello, Bowers, Porta, Friesen, Reed. They're all still going to stay out. There's Morris, the 55, coming back around. There's Irving Allison in the 16. Neal's staying out. So that 94, those guys at the back there are now staying out a bit. And there's Morris. There's Foster. So that is a pretty hefty margin between them. And now all those lappers coming on down so the 55 can run his race. But if we can go find him. There's Onjack, actually. Never mind. He's not going to come out anywhere near Morris. I was thinking that maybe the Onjato team would step up. They are not going to. As Joe Shirley's all over the back of him. And Foster's going to take that second spot back away. So the 55 is pretty much on his way to a race victory. Neal has come down. I believe that means everyone else has now come down pit road. There you see Cucalon right there. So now it's to this man. Brandon Morris in the 55. He's going to actually pick up so many spots on lappers. I don't know what you could say. I don't know if you could beat him this year. It was Cucalon the first 2 races, and we thought Cucalon would go on and win everything. And now we're sitting here with the 55 looking for his 4th win in, what, the last 6 races, 7 races. And he could really just dominate this season, and I don't know if anyone can stop him. The record for most wins in a season is 5. Morris, we're not even halfway to the season yet. It's race 9, and he could already have 4. So if this dominance continues into more races, the 55 might just win the rest of the season. But he still needs to keep it going in the chase, because you have one bad race in the chase, you could be on the back foot real quick. However, it's plus 5 bonus points for every win you have entering the chase, and then the top 10 in the chase standings, or top 10 in the chase standings do get bonus points. So this 55 team, he might be able to win the title from here. And that'd be crazy for BGM to do so. The 55, Morris did say, if he wins the title, he's done. He's going to retire on top, but he still has to win the title. Even still, he said he might not come back to Cup Series racing next season, especially in the 55 car, looking more towards maybe doing a truck season instead before his retirement. But I don't know why you would. You're at the top of your game right now, 3 seconds ahead of Tim Foster in second, who is being chased down by Onjack. Irving Allison up to 4th, so BGM, I don't know. You can't even stop anyone. BGM's having a great day. Murray's back in 5th. Dusty Neal falls to 6th as Jeff Alloway is looking for a top 5 in the 91 car. As he's going to go right to the inside of Neal, take that spot. Now he is in the 6th position. I cannot believe what I'm seeing out of that young driver in the 91. Stephen Wallace Jr. 8th. Logan Cloud 9th. So Cloud's not even too far behind the 91. He's gone on record saying he's kind of sad now, seeing that 91 doing good, thinking it was his fault, but I don't think it's his fault. I think the 91 just, you got to give it time to get in there. And Alloway came in and shot off, of course, but these have been short tracks. And Cloud's still running good. 9th right now, fighting Stephen Wallace Jr. Curtis back in 10th. So if he could get a top 10, that should at least give his confidence a little bit of a boost anyway. Even still, Cloud is 25th in the points. Jeff Alloway, 42nd in points. And we have a caution. Caution is out on the racetrack. Alex Fletcher's on pit road. It's down in turn 1. Riley Spurleytube in the 28 goes around. Irving Allison's up to second, and this is going to take away Morris's lead as well. All the lappers go around. It's going to be Jesse Turner. Yes, 19th Jesse Turner will get the free pass in the 04, so we'll have 19 on the lead lap. But now Morris's lead is gone. Now the question is, do you pit? Do you stay out? You can make it to the end here, but the question is about a green-white checkered finish. That could be the other thing. We're going to pause the camera right there. See if anyone indeed does come down pit road. You see Irving back there. He's about 12 cars behind. So for Onjack and Foster, that's going to pick him up a ton of time. Roger Ray going to give Vince Freeze a little bit of a nudge there. Everyone having a time heading into turn 3. But we will be going back racing here. Probably with about 30 laps to go. Riley Spurleytube goes around. No one comes in. Get you guys back to the action right after this. Bit more of a complex crash than we thought. Jacob Edson is going to get turned by Colton Lane going down into the corner. Hits the 82 into the outside wall. No one hits him until Jesse Turner comes flying in on the outside, trying to stay out of him. Goes down, hits Riley Spurleytube. That's why Riley ends up with all that damage. We're under caution for the second time today here at Nashville. Coming back live here at Nashville, and after seeing that replay, Jesse Turner does not receive the free pass for being involved in the incident in that 04, so he will not receive the free pass, so no one will receive the free pass. However, the whole field does indeed shuffle forward to all the lead lap cars together. So Morris leads over teammate Irving Allison, Peter Onjak 3rd, Tip Foster 4th, Austin Murray 5th. Jeff Alloway 6th has some hood damage. So does Dusty Neal in 7th with some rear end damage. So that might be a thing right there. Stephen Walls Jr. 8th, Logan Cloud 9th, DJ Curtis 10th, Cucalon 11th, Butcher 12th, Lane 13th, Max Anderson 14th, Matty Porta 15th, Goforth 16th, DeLello 17th, Carson Bowers 18th. Everyone else is a lap down or more. Still able to fight for a free pass as long as they aren't the reason for the caution. We should be able to make it to the end on fuel. Green for white checkered changes that, but still you might be able to. It's going to be a 33 lap dash to decide this unless we get another caution. Can the 16, 44, 40, anyone get around the 55 of Morris? Coming down the front straightaway, Morris gets to lead him down. Green flag's back in the air, and we're racing again at Nashville. Onjak does not get going as good as Irving Allison did, and that could be bad for the 55. Here comes Irving right up to the back of Morris as they head down into 3, right onto the back of him. BGM going at it for the race lead again here at Nashville. Onjak back in 3rd, Foster 4th, Murray 5th. And now Morris going to try to pull away from Irving as best as he can to try to keep that 16 behind him and win this race as Onjak keeps going at it for second. He hasn't been able to catch the 55 all race. Don't know why he thinks this will be different as he gives a nudge to the 16. And now they're side by side for second. Not going to happen as Jeff Alloway makes his way into 5th for the 91. Can he go all the way to the win in his second career start in the NSDCA for that Pedal Metal Racing 91? Onjak going a bit defensive back there in 3rd is going to lose him some time. The 55 of Morris pulling away now from Irving Allison. Does Irving have anything? This could be the battle to decide who is the number 1 at BGM, really, as the 16 and 55 could be going at it for this race win. Onjak back in 3rd is staying up in there. Murray, Stephen Walls Jr. there. Cloud has been moved out of the top 10. Everyone else is laps down, trying to fight for any scraps they can further back as Irving now has Onjak all over the back of him. Onjak still looking for that second position, still wants to get up there, almost into the back of Irving. He's onto the apron there, taking a bit of an evasive maneuver on the 44, and it's going to cost both of them time. And just like at Richmond, when Morris won Richmond, it might be down to 2nd and 3rd squabbling for position in faster cars that could give him the win. And there goes the 55. Check it out in that BGM 55. Irving back there in 2nd. Onjak in 3rd is still trying to get there. He knows how much of a rival Morris is. And they really know that if they don't stop Toyota now, they might never. And Onjak now to the inside of Irving looking for that second spot. The 55 is checking out and gone in the 55 of Morris. Irving Allison in 2nd, Peter Onjak 3rd, Foster 4th, Jeff Alloway in 5th. I cannot believe the run by this kid, possibly on his way. If there's another caution, he could win this race. He's been that fast this weekend already. And we'll take a quick look at the fastest lap. It is on Jack, but Alloway 5th quickest there. Murray 6th. Stephen Wallace Jr. 7th. Neil back to 8th. Curtis 9th. Cucalon 10th. Cloud trying to fight for a top 10 there is Lane, his teammate behind him. There's Porta. The lappers now starting to fight up as Bright passes Butcher, and this is a great run for Eli. 19th is the highest driver. 1 lap down. Could get the free pass should something happen. And even still, that's a top 20 run. He hasn't seen that in ages. But the driver who hasn't seen anyone else on track in ages already is Morris. And I don't think you're going to stop him today. I think this is his race to lose. He won it last year. He has a car to beat. And I think the only way you're going to do it is maybe another restart. I don't know if the 16 has enough time to get up there. Onjak really cost them all trying to get around Irving. Irving was there a couple times, but Peter kept going underneath him. And now he's fallen away from the 16 back in 3rd. But you can't blame him. I mean, they're racers. They're not supposed to help other people win. They're supposed to help themselves win, but it just did not work for Peter. He's now sitting back in 3rd. Looks like he's running his own race. Foster 4th. Now Murray up to 5th. It looks like Alloway starting to lose some time now as Stephen Wallace Jr. could be taking a move on this 91 of Alloway. Neil, Cucalon, Cloud, and Butcher. Or Curtis, sorry. That's your top 11 there as Curtis tries to fend, or Cloud tries to fend off DJ Curtis. Stephen Wallace Jr. here now might get a run underneath Alloway as Murray stacks him up big time. And SWJ is going to get that run now to the inside of the 91 and could clear for that 6th position. What a great day GDI is having right now with the 65 as Yepes is really struggling bad all the way back in the 32nd position for GDI's what should be their main car because that's the number 35. Cloud now fighting Neil. It looks like whatever happened to the rear end of that 94, it did not help him. Now as Cloud's going to get to the inside of him, so Neil's just going to try to hang on to a top 10 here. Alloway, Wallace Jr., and Cucalon are going at it there. And Morris is gone. It's 1.7 seconds, and we're 19 laps away from seeing this car once again in victory lane. It'd be the 3rd different sponsor he'd win with this year in that number 55. And I don't know what can be done to stop Morris at this point. Irving gained a little bit. There's lap traffic, but with how easily that 55 opened up leads after getting that lap traffic, that's really the thing. And we saw even when they got to lap traffic, Onjak was catching him, just couldn't get anything done. So I don't know if Onjak's car just ain't working to get by anyone because he couldn't get by Irving. Now he's kind of sitting in 3rd, fading away fast. So I don't know if Onjak might not have a good setup here for this weekend. But there is the difference between Morris and Irving Allison coming down the front straightaway. Opens up now to 2 seconds. Morris running 2/10 of a fat lap quicker than Irving the last 2 times. He's going to meet lap traffic, and that probably won't matter. I don't know if 2 seconds will go away just like that unless Alex Fletcher is really going to fight him tooth and nail to not go 5 laps down in this event. But the Cup Series is starting to get a bit repetitive. Toyota is looking for their 7th win of the season in all 7 oval races. It's going to be Morris's 4th. Cucalon has 2. Irving Allison has 1. Irving could have 2 if he somehow catches up to Morris. That's not happening. He just lost another 2/10 and barely gained anything back. There's Alex Fletcher in the 07. We'll see what the lappers do to Morris's line, but he got out in the race lead, and it's been his show all day. 107 of the 126 laps led, 12 of those by Max Anderson. The rest were a couple laps led by Peter Onjak, Tib Foster, and Dusty Neal, leading the remaining 6 combined. And now Morris to the inside, Alex Fletcher. You see Irving's car is fading now. Oh my gosh, Morris is into the wall. He tried to catch up on Fletcher, and he's into the wall, and that's going to cost him a whole ton of time. But that might not even cost him the race because Alex Fletcher's going to park it in front of these guys. And I don't know if Irving's going to be able to get around him in time. And now Irving's on the inside of Fletcher, and he can't get anything done because you can't push up too hard coming off the corner. Morris has damage, but I don't think that's going to even stop him. We got 11 to go, a ton of right side damage to the 55, but he's continuing on over Irving. Irving just halved that distance between them, but I don't think he has enough time. He was fading before that. And I don't know if that'll even matter for Morris because he already just gained another 10th on him, but he was fighting Fletcher that time. So give Irving a bit of a pass. Onjak's now getting by Fletcher. And there's Morris in the 55. He's going to catch up to Duncan, Freeze, Edson, Cordell Smith probably by the end of this. And now 10 laps to go. We'll have to see. Irving's still only running basically the same speed Morris is, so I don't think that car got too damaged. Maybe it cost him 2/10, so now he's equal with Irving, but I don't know if Irving will even be able to get there, even with the damage sustained to that 55, because I don't think Irving or I don't think anyone's fast enough to catch him no matter what you do. And Irving just lost 2/10 again, so that car is not affected. The 55 is just not affected by damage now for BGM. And Duncan's going to move out of his way. Duncan's a nice guy. He's going to move out of the way. At least for now. Maybe he doesn't want to crash that 33. That's probably an important thing to do. There's Duncan now. Freeze is going to park the bus in front of him, just like in the truck race. GMC was the problematic lappers. It looks like the Chevys are going to be here as Freeze absolutely parks it in front of... Wow, he is parking it really far in front of Morris. They're making contact. That brings Duncan back up. Here comes Onjak now. He's going to catch up to the back of him. So with the lappers too wide, it looks like there's a conspiracy with the lappers to hold up that 55, because here comes Onjak in the 44. Will he have enough time to get there and get by him? Will the lappers help out Peter to win this race? Because they are still side by side with Freeze and Duncan. Now Morris looking anywhere to go. He's jumping to the outside of Freeze. Will it be enough to get around him as Onjak's on the back of him? 6 laps to go here at Nashville, 5 this time by. And Freeze being on the inside, if Morris gets the exit, he will not. Here comes Onjak to the inside in the 41. Not going to get there. Now Morris has the time to get under Vince Freeze, and he's going to get there. And you can't go 3 wide. So even still, even with how climactic this finish is going to be, I don't think the 44 can get by him, as he's all over him. Now Duncan is right in front of him. Duncan's going to step out of the way as well and let him by. And now Onjak's trapped with the lappers. Can't use that momentum. And the 44 Onjak right back to the bottom. And he's going to get by Duncan here, maybe. Yes, he will. Irving there. 3 to go. There's still time, but I don't think there's enough. Here comes Edson now. That's a Toyota driver. Cordell Smith, that's another Toyota driver in front of him. So we'll see how Morris deals with the lappers. 2 to go next time by. Onjak catches up big time as Edson parks it again on the exit. What does Peter do? He has nowhere to go. And he's just going to shove Morris by. Throws it inside with Morris. Onjak's going to move up and hit Edson coming off. 2 laps to go here at Nashville. And Irving, that's going to cost him. He's done. He's stuck behind Edson. No way he's getting up there. Spurley Tube, Cordell Smith in front of Morris. White flag is out. There's the RHR 52 ahead. What does Onjak or Irving Allison have? Onjak right there. What will he do? Stays right behind him. Doesn't have enough to get there. Goes up a little wide. The white flag in the air for Morris in the 55. And they ain't going to get him. One more set of corners. In the 55, they threw everything but the kitchen sink to get him out of that race lead. It's not going to matter. Morris wins his 4th race of the season in the Sundrop Cup Series. Peter Onjak comes home 2nd. Irving Allison 3rd. I don't know what it was, but the 44 and 16 had multiple chances at him. Even without the lappers at the end, they still couldn't get by the 55. I don't know if it was just the raw pace out of that 55 car or the 44. Peter had multiple shots that race to get by him, just could not get by him. Irving tried. The 44 kept getting in his way. Onjak was really trying to win that race. And at the end, I would have thrown it 3 wide and just knocked the 55 out of the way. Alex Fletcher did everything he could for you. Still didn't happen. And I cannot believe the dominance we've seen from Toyota this year. There's been so many jokes in the garage area ever since Shade Eves bought partial ownership of Burkhart Morris Motorsports back in the day. Or Burkhart Maurice Motorsports back in the day. Sorry. They made it into SBR, and they didn't win a championship after that. Toyota hasn't won a Top Series championship since Blake Maurice 4 years ago. And they've kept saying the Toyota master plan, the SBR master plan. Well, I think it's here. And it might be in the form of BGM and Brandon Morris, because I don't know what you can do to stop him. Alex Fletcher was right there. I don't think it was Fletcher's fault. I think it was Morris's fault. He came up the track, just tried to clear the 07 quick, and Fletcher stayed right high on him, and they both hit the wall. And then you had Vince Freeze, William Duncan pretty much causing a roadblock down there that cut away 2.5 seconds of Morris's lead. And then Onjack went by Allison, and Peter still couldn't get by Brandon. So I don't know what it is. One thing to note, though, is we have been to short tracks very often, and now we're going to the bigger tracks. And Morris's wins this season, Steelback, this race here, Richmond, and Nashville. Now that's 3 short tracks. We don't have many more short tracks on the season. He has 1 win earlier this year at Auto Club. I'm pretty sure it was. Was it Auto Club? Wherever he won. I think it was Auto Club. Wherever he won, Morris won a 4th bigger oval race. He's won these short tracks. He's dominated on these short tracks, but once we get to the bigger tracks, maybe that's where his kryptonite is. And these guys can finally start going at him, because right now, you can't stop him. And I don't know what you can do. Onjack threw everything at him. The whole field threw everything at him. And that 55 is going to be in victory lane. Heck, at least it's going to be a pretty nice race win diecast there. I think that's the first one in a long while that's been pretty torn up coming to the end of the race in victory lane. But dominance is the name of the game in the Cup Series this season. It's parity in trucks, parity in Mountain Dew Custom Series, but it's dominance this year in the Sundrop Cup Series. Next week is PA Speed Weeks. CNB races and Pocono races all week for the Cup, the Truck. Pretty sure the Mountain Dew Custom Series and the Sundrop and the Molson Modified Dr. Pepper Dash Series. So, a lot of races ahead of you next week. Morris wins this weekend. Toyota sweeps the weekend at Nashville in the National Series competition. We thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time on the NSDCA.